2 points by Pádraig Walsh, 2 by Richie Hogan, and Kilkenny definitely on top in the middle of the field.
And Joe Canning knocking it down for Andy Smith. Well, the pass back was terrible, really. There's no way was Joe Canning going to reach him. Canning indeed showing a little bit of leadership and fight, just getting it back, half blocked. Comes back again towards Jackie Tyrrell. Hand pass it, good work by Jason Flynn, putting the pressure on as Galway scramble down towards the Kilkenny 20-metre line. Kieran Joyce, Killian Buckley is there, so too is Paul Murphy. A little bit of pressure. The referee has given the free and rewarded Galway for their intensity. And again, there's a bit of afters going on off camera.
Yeah, you watch a good bit of tackling there. Paul Murphy can't get out, and he's penalised for overcarrying. I don't know if he did overcarry, but he's certainly put under a lot of pressure. And Galway very aggressive, and as you say, Martin, another bit of afters there. Joe Canning and JJ Delaney involved, and it's creeping into the second half as well. But it's a bit of fire as well. It's good to see a bit of fire in lads' bellies, and there's a bit of passion about the game. It's traditional, it's more traditional again than maybe we've seen. No tactics, everyone going toe to toe, and very enjoyable for that.
4 points he scored in the first half. Well within his range when you see our camera angle from behind the posts. Straight over the bar. 5 out of 6 for Conor Cooney, which by any barometer is a pretty good statistic for a free taker.
Yeah, and Marty, I suppose we said Michael Fennelly would be a big loss, and I think he is. Mark Kelly started centre forward, he's gone into the corner. Colin Fennelly is out there now, but Daithí Burke doing well in the half forward line, and Michael Fennelly badly missed.
Hurling sending it along the surface. Paul Murphy battling hard. Getting in there is David Burke. Sending it over towards Jason Flynn. Good hands, good catch. Can he get away from the shackles of the Kilkenny defence? He can. There's a goal on here. Oh, and it's gone outside the post. Did the goalkeeper get a touch? That is a fantastic save by Owen Murphy, but it had goal written all over it with a capital G.
What play by Jason Flynn. He was on the ground, didn't look for the free, came inside, really should have flashed his net, but a great save there by Owen Murphy. But he bounced the ball maybe 3 or 4 yards out. He should, but just the way he got up there, the great sportsmanship, wasn't looking for the free and headed straight in, and he's been a breath of fresh air here. Great save by Owen Murphy, but Galway causing all sorts of trouble now for Kilkenny since half time.
And I tell you that if you're trying to score a goal and you know what you played in the forwards, you try and hit the ball along the surface of the ground and make sure the keeper doesn't get it.
Yeah, I didn't score too many goals, Marty, but
well, I wasn't going to mention that.
But when you're in that close, really, he shouldn't have given him the chance. He bounced it a bit too far out, and it bounced up a nice height, and it's nonetheless a good save by Owen Murphy.
Conor Cooney on the 65. Never in any doubt. It's a consolation prize, a valuable one, but it could have been so much more, except for this man. Wonderful acrobatics, producing undoubtedly the save of the match so far. Andy Smith's spirit and work rate you'd have to really admire. Killian Buckley sending it over towards Colin Fennelly territory and Richie Power. It's Richie Power that gets there, and he has hurt his ankle now.
Yeah, he tripped going for the ball. There was no one near him actually, and he lost his footing.
Let's watch this again, Michael.
Yeah, just an awkward fall, and he looks to be in a bit of bother. He's had a lot of injuries over the last number of years, and Tommy Walsh coming in. I think Kilkenny looking for a bit of fire, and no better man to give it to them. But Galway very happy, I think, since half time. Their half back line, you saw Iarla Tanyan powering out there earlier, and Daithí Burke in particular are getting well on top, and Kilkenny find it very, very hard to win any ball. Walter Watch, I don't think has caught a puck out. Owen Larkin not in the game, Mark Kelly not in the game, and the forward line being well shackled by Galway defence.
Interesting to see where Tommy Walsh plays, because down in Kilkenny some people said his future will lie in the forward line rather than the half back line.
Yeah, I don't know. Brian Kennedy maybe in a bit of bother. He could come in at wing back. He would.
Sideline ball is a good one. Good hands by Niall Burke, who we've said from the beginning is a potential match winner for Galway, not with the ball delivered in like that to Owen Murphy, who came off his line. Send Ray down the field. Colin Fennelly underneath it. Out comes Mark Kelly. He has the support of TJ Reid to his right. Still Kelly. Goes left instead. Fennelly shooting. Scoring! A fantastic goal! You could see him lining it up, giving a bit of space. Fennelly is absolutely deadly, and he proves it.
Yeah, well, Marty, I mentioned in the first half, Mark Kelly is there, he's great athleticism and brilliant vision there. He picked out Colin Fennelly and a brilliant, outstanding finish to the corner of the net. Ronan Burke very slow to react there when the ball came in. Kelly stole 3 or 4 yards on him, but then had a lot of work to do, and he headed straight for the goals. And Tommy Walsh in that right half forward, and I think it's Walter Walsh that's gone.
So change in the Kilkenny attack. Tommy Walsh surprisingly going to the forward line. Now, what will that do to this particular match? Will it inspire Kilkenny to go forward now and win this semi-final, or can Galway's character be shown? They're still only trailing by a point despite that Colin Fennelly goal. Can Anthony Cunningham bring them back to another Leinster final 2 years in a row? Sideline ball going to be taken by Joe Cannon. Boot has to be tied first before sideline cut is taken.
Yeah, well, the debate will start all over again every time. You know, Joe's coming out from centre forward to take this. If he scores it, it'll be great, but you know, an awkward angle. But if anyone can curl it over from here, Joe Canning can.
It gives you an idea of what he's facing. Cuts it in. Owen Murphy. When required, he has produced the goods. Goal scorer, Colin Fennelly. Blocked down on this occasion by Johnny Cohen. Available is Andy Smith further down, still kept in by Owen Larkin. Ball is on the line. Barry Kelly has his flag up and he's indicating it's a Kilkenny ball. Eventually Richie Hogan gets the ball back from Andy Smith. Good anticipation by the Portrunnagh man, and hits a shoulder, but the ball breaks free. Owen Larkin comes in together, Killian Joyce I should say, and away comes Galway. JJ Delaney winning that particular 50-50 ball. Good defending by him. Swings it into the centre. Available is Kieran Joyce, and a half back line that's coming to terms with the challenge posed by Galway.
Yeah, serious hit there with Andy Smith and Jackie Turrell, and the ball brought back to Kilkenny. But Kilkenny now, look, we've seen they've great experience, but I think a brilliant reaction to Galway's dominance. Just Jackie Turrell over his shoulder, but Andy Smith stood his ground as well, and Kieran Joyce was coming into the game more, as you say, Marty. But Kilkenny, great reaction, I think, to the way Galway started the second half, and that goal has settled him, and TJ Reid has come back a long way to take this one.
He's inside his own half of the field. That's the 65-metre line. Drives it in, and it just went over the crossbar. Really good free by TJ Reid.
It was a very tough one to deal with. It was just over the crossbar, and it could have dipped down and took a bit of watching. I'd say the goalie was thankful, Colin Callan, that it just went over the bar.
Puck out by Colin Callan. Jonathan Glenn, the target. Big 6'3", 6'4" lad. Conor Cooney under severe pressure. Still Cooney. And Richie Hogan chasing him. Cooney with a diagonal ball into the centre. David Burke working hard. Great pressure by Kilkenny, but Galway retain the slither. Down towards Jason Flynn, and the referee has given a free to Kilkenny.
Yeah, that's brilliant defending, Marty, I'd have to say, by Kilkenny. Conor Cooney got the ball only 30 yards out. He was hooshed all the way out the field to the middle of the field, and eventually then Jason Flynn dragged down Brian Kennedy. And you know, Galway just, I think, have to go a bit more direct and a little bit better support play. When they do win possession inside, there's nobody coming off the shoulder to take the pass, and they're being forced out the field.
Well, this is a little bit further out, if only just a metre or two. Will this one have the range? Dropping it a little bit short, cutting across is David Collins, chasing after it. He has support to his right, but he goes for the long ball. Coming through the middle, it's David Burke. Uses the short grip, trying to get it in towards Jason Flynn. On this occasion, Brian Kennedy flicks it back. As Kilkenny grow with confidence. Andy Smith is fouling, and that's a free as Pádraig Walsh went down under the pressure from Smith.
He had a hand in there again and just pulled him down. But again, low ball up to Jonathan Glynn up that wing. He preferred the ball high. Paul Murphy loves that low ball out in front the whole time, and I think if they're going to go into that corner, they need to go high, or if it's a low ball in front of Niall Burke at full forward.
Interesting, as this free is taken, that Joe Canning has now gone in full forward as this ball is dropping in. It's going all the way. Good score. Richie Hogan with his 3rd point of the match, and 3 points between the teams. But loads of time on the clock, as you can see on your screen. Colm Callanan. Ball again available, and Kilkenny are so good at snapping up the loose ball. Colin Finlay was there, under a bit of pressure from Conor Cooney. In comes Richie Hogan, and Finlay retrieves the situation. Flings it forward, fires Richie Hogan. About to be hooked by Andy Smith. 10 out of 10 for Smith, for spirit, passion and determination. Long ball down towards Jason Flynn. What can he do from there? He's along the sideline. He's going for the point, but the ball is wide. And they need just a little bit more composure, I would suggest, Michael.
Absolutely, Marty, more composure. And the play's going on now with Andy Smith down injured. Quick puck out to Owen Larkin there.
Andy Smith is still down as Owen Larkin drives the ball in. Fergal Moore is there under no great pressure. There's a bit of cramp from Smith as he's getting an exercise there from his physio, and I'm now a bit surprised because Andy Smith has given it everything.
He has, Marty. That was a great hook there. He covered a lot of ground, but I think that could be his last act. They're calling, I think, for a sub, but just watch him coming in here. And that's been a great battle between himself and Richie Hogan. Andre has got 1 point from play, Richie Hogan has got 2, and it's been one of the features of the game so far. Fantastic battle by the two of them in the middle of the field.
It'd be a huge loss because he's given it absolutely everything. You can see why he has so many All-Ireland club medals with Portumna. JJ Delaney, always a delight to watch when he comes out and attacks the ball. Up towards Mark Kelly. Coming forward is David Collins. Hand passes it down for is David Burke. Into the centre. Towards Niall Burke. Good block down. Rebound comes back to the goalway man. Great pressure by Kilkenny. Owen Larkin just inside the Galway 65. Dangerous ball. TJ Reid is hovering. Out comes Colm Callanan. He has 2 Galway players available. Uses Irlit Tanya from Ardrahan in the county of Galway. Sends it down towards this man. This is Jonathan Glenn. What can he do with the finish? And it's into the side netting. The referee has blown his whistle and he's given a penalty to Galway.
Yeah, Marty, he gave him a second there after he caught the ball and he went to bat it into the net, but good referee. Just watch this. He got behind his man there. I was saying there about the high ball into him. Very dangerous. Pulled here by Brian Kennedy, and I don't think he'd be going to Wimbledon after that one, but the penalty had been given, and it's Brian Kennedy who pulled him down. He didn't pull him down, he just caught him by the jersey.
Caught him by the jersey,
a little pull of the jersey.
Yeah. You read my mind when I gave you the look there, Michael. Now, crucial moments. They've been level 6 times in this Leinster semi-final. This to level it for the 7th occasion.
Yeah, and we have to think of the new rule there now. Joe is standing right on the 21, but he can't obviously cross the 21-yard line, so he's going to bring it back a few metres, I presume.
He can go back 7 metres, if I remember correctly what the instruction came from Croke Park, and that's exactly more or less what he's doing, but he cannot hit the sliotar beyond the 20-metre line.
No, he took 3 steps back. That's obviously what he's practiced in training, and he's happy with that. So it'll just be fairly snappy, just up and away.
Here he comes, Joe Canning drives it, and it's in the back of the net. The sides are level again. The captain brings leadership, and indeed a wonderful strike here, beating Paul Murphy, JJ Delaney and Owen Murphy.
Yeah, I think they'll be disappointed on the line, Marty. I've seen Joe hit better ones. They got the 2 hurls up to it, but just slid the power of it, it slid off the hurl into the back of the net, and that brings Galway back into it, and 20 minutes to go. We should have a brilliant last 20 now.
Interesting contrast between his style and Patrick Horgan's style last week, who gave himself quite a good run. It seemed to be more powerful. Anyway, it doesn't matter. All that counts is the fact that Joe Canning scored a cracking goal to make it 2-12 to 2-12. And here he is again. Aidan Fogarty is on for Kilkenny, and the player that's gone off is Richie Power. Obviously that ankle injury. Unfortunate Richie Power, we wish him well. He's just very unlucky with injuries, just back from a hamstring. And now he's picked up an ankle injury. Now, here's Joe Canning. Well, that's one of his poorest, but he could still retrieve the situation. He goes through the tackle, and look at that for recovery. Joe Canning. Wonderful, wonderful point when you consider basically he made a mess of the sideline pucks.
I love it, Marty, when they keep the ball in play from line balls. He didn't mean to do that, but just shows you onto the breaking ball. Like, that's huge now for Galway. Joe with a goal and a point there in a short space of time, and you know, great catch by TJ Reid.
He lays it off for as Aidan Fogarty. Did well to control it. Needs a little bit of support outside. Richie Hogan is calling for it. Converging on him are 3 Galway players, and Galway a bit frustrated with the refereeing decision here. They didn't feel they fouled Hogan. Let's see what Michael Dignan
Yeah,
thinks.
well, that's David Burke again, you know, and Niall Burke came in afterwards with the shoulder. That certainly wasn't it. Good catch by TJ Power. I'd say there again, Richie Power could see the tackle coming, he broke it, he kind of drew the free, and David Burke drawn into it. Marginal enough, I thought, that time, but he got a yellow card for a similar one in the first half.
So once again, it's TJ Reid going to take this free. The instructions is to leave the ball in to Joe Canning as often as possible, if I could overhear what Anthony Cunningham was saying, as TJ Reid takes the free and puts it over the bar for his 5th point of the match. 8 times they've been level in Tullamore.
Well, that's it, Marty. Jason Ford is playing very much out the wing and leaving space inside in front for Joe Canning. They're just hoping to get one ball in there. And Paul Murphy, great play there, came out in front again of Jonathan Glenn.
It's always good to see a corner back and a 50-50 ball coming out, catching the ball and delivering it long, and then sending it down to Owen Larkin, who gets his first point of the match. He now has a personal tally of a goal and a point.
Yeah, and he's been working very hard. Yeah, that one just crept inside the post there, but as you said, great ball by Paul Murphy, won it in front, and then very intelligent ball in front of Owen Larkin.
Long puck out from Colin Callanan. Oh, fantastic catch by Kieran Joyce. Laying it off quickly for his Tommy Walsh, dropping it in. The goalkeeper keeps his eye on it. Colin Callanan steps away from the challenge, sees if anybody's available. There is, but not for very long. In comes Richie Hogan, who anticipated what was happening. He's lost his, no, he hasn't lost his hurl. It's the Galway man that's lost his hurl, and Richie Hogan continues on to score his 4th point of the match. Good play, Kilkenny. Excellent play by Richie Hogan.
Yeah, well, Marty, if you watch there, the goalie, I suppose he signalled his intent to go this way. Kevin Hines was standing under the ball, and Richie Hogan came in, took the ball at its full height out of the air, brought it down and over the bar, and he's having an absolutely fantastic game in the middle of the field. But you know, he's a small man, but just the reading of the play there and the way he brought it down was fantastic.
2 points between the teams again. Jonathan Glenn underneath it. Paul Murphy struggling to get up off the ground. Niall Burke is there, Porrig Walsh, Tommy Walsh the brother. It's kicked back outside for his Irlitanyan from way out the field. It's gone to the left and wide. And I can see Joe Canning just trying to get the notice or the message to Irlitanyan to leave the ball into the half forward line or full forward line.
Yeah.
Puck out from Owen Murphy. Tanyan is underneath it again. Let's see what he does this time. Joe Canning to his immediate right, trying to make a little bit of space. Here's Canning, having gone out to deliver the message. Canning under a bit of pressure. In comes Tommy Walsh. Tommy, the mighty Tommy Walsh, giving a long ball. Underneath it is Owen Larkin. So too is Johnny Cohen. Comes away, thought about going back towards his goalkeeper. It's half blocked by TJ Reid. Reid under a bit of pressure here. Johnny Cohen still standing firm.
Don't foul him, Johnny, don't foul him.
Owen Larkin comes in to give assistance. TJ Reid calling for it. He's literally, as you can see along the sideline here, giving it into the middle towards Aidan Fogarty, dispossessed on this occasion by Joe Canning. What can he do from here as Colin Fennelly comes in to challenge? Canning needs a little bit of help. The shape and form of David Burke, sending it low along the surface, goes back. Coming in again is Conor Cooney. Chasing him is Pádraig Walsh. Still Cooney. Has the sliotar in the hand, gives it back into Joe Canning. Canning, effort is half blocked. Goalkeeper Owen Murphy has the situation under control. Hand passes out first, Brian Kennedy. Dropping ball. Plenty of Galway defenders, but it comes to Aidan Fogarty, trying to get it across for his own Larkin. In comes Iarla Tanyan. Out comes Tommy Walsh, and here comes the score. And listen to the roar. Tommy Walsh provides a wonderful score for the Cats.
And he does, Marty, and he came on against Offaly in Nolan Park. He had about 4 shots, didn't score. The same here today, waiting for him to get the score, but that was some passage of play. And one player, Colin Fennelly, he tracked back 70-80 yards, got the hook in on Joe Canning there. Joe really should have stepped away from the tackle, but you saw the work rate. Pádraig Walsh, Colin Fennelly, the younger players of the Kilkenny team providing the spark. And you'd have to say Galway really need a score now, Marty. Kilkenny 3 points up. That long passage of play there, Galway had a chance to score, but Kilkenny got the score at the end of it. They really need to get the next score now to keep themselves in the game.
David Burke loses out to TJ Reid. He hits it powerfully. He hits it directly between the posts. 6 points for TJ Reid. He's a man enjoying a rich vein of form at the moment, and when you consider players like Richie Hogan and Pádraig Walsh and Tommy Walsh, you feel there is a depth of talent in Kilkenny. 4 points between the teams.
A great hook again by Colin Fennelly there. His move to centre forward for the second half, you know, he's done a lot of work and created a lot of scores.
Dropping ball. Dahi Burke to Joe Canning. In comes Jackie Tyrrell and Kevin Hines. Killian Buckley is there, so too is Tommy Walsh. Sweet ball over towards Aidan Fogarty. From way out the field, Fogarty shoots and scores a magnificent point. What about that for class? Kilkenny are beginning to breathe in more oxygen and let fly.
Well, they are, but you see what made Kilkenny great there, I suppose. Jackie Tyrrell, you know, bad first touch by Kevin Hines, but that ball should have been delivered inside. Jackie Tyrrell held the middle, Tommy Walsh onto the breaking ball, and a lovely weighted ball up the field, and Aidan Fogarty just had to take it into his hand and turn it over the bar. Great team score.
The Road McInerney is on for Galway instead of Corey Breheny. Paul Murphy to Tommy Walsh. David Collins. 5 points between the teams now. That's a fantastic catch by JJ Delaney. Over the head of Conor Cooney. Iarla Tanyan. Calling for it in the middle is Kevin Hines, unmarked. They need a score. Is this it? It's left and wide again. And I'll make the point again, Michael, that they need to be a little bit calm and send the ball in to the full forward line, a better quality ball. Don't forget tomorrow morning, a big draw on Morning Island on RT Radio 1 is the qualifier draw round 1 for the Hurling tomorrow morning at 8:30. As this ball is going straight between the posts. Another point, another score for a man called Richie Hogan.
Yeah, Marty, you're right what you said earlier. Look, Galway need to use the ball better, but this man, Richie Hogan, he's just appreciation of space is incredible. He's always drifting to where the right play should be, onto the ball. His 4 points in play got, and Tommy Walsh has made some difference, you'd have to say as well. He's really ignited. Look at that for a ball into TJ Reid.
Great ball from Tommy Walsh to TJ Reid. There's only one thing on his mind. Brilliant goal for Kilkenny. Thank you, Tommy Walsh, says TJ Reid. But TJ Reid let fly with a rasper, and goalkeeper Colin Callanan could not stop it.
Yeah, Marty, what a ball. TJ Reid made the run. Tommy Walsh spotted him straight away, straight into his hand. He never had to break his stride, and he's been in brilliant form all, you know, for years now, but this summer been outstanding. A brilliant goal, and look at all of a sudden now a very competitive game, and Kilkenny have wrapped it up in the space of a few minutes.
Coming forward from the bench is Joseph Cooney, and he's coming on for David Burke. But you sense, Michael, that Kilkenny have a spectrum of talent along the side. You think of Michael Finlay, I know you mentioned it earlier, Henry Shefflin.
Well, here's Henry coming now, Marty. I see him just about to come on.
He's going to be introduced. And listen to the roar here every time he's appearing back after yet another injury, and it's good to see Henry Shefflin on the field of play.
But when you're bringing on subs like Henry Shefflin, Tommy Walsh, Brian Hogan hasn't been brought on, Michael Fennelly is missing, Michael Rice out injured. You know, it's just phenomenal to have players of that calibre to come into a team.
What can Galway do? Johnny Cohen losing out to Richie Hogan. That's a free for Kilkenny on their own 65-metre line.
And Marty, it's a big 8 or 9 minutes for Galway hurling now. I believe they have to knuckle down. They can't let Kilkenny, you know, there's 9 points in it now. They try to close the gap and leave some hope for the rest of the season in the qualifiers. But if Kilkenny go on now and put 14 or 15 between them, it'll really be another demoralising defeat for Galway and their supporters who came here, you know, more maybe in hope and confidence today, but they're going to be crushed with this after Galway being competitive for so long.
Damien Hayes is on for Niall Burke, who faded out of the game. He had a great first half, goal and 2 points. But Damien Hayes now on as TJ Reid takes this free on his own 65-metre line, and that is over the bar. That's a goal and 7 points for TJ Reid, and they stretch their lead 320 to 213. 10 points between the teams. Cooney, Joe Cannon, heading towards the 20. Goal on his mind, and Owen Murphy saves again! That's a brilliant save. Joe Canning looks to the skies and to the gods, but he has to look to the keeper here, who produced an absolutely brilliant save.
Yeah, great shot, and Marty, the reason it was brilliant, it was so low, right down at his post. There was no bounce there, and just watch it there, just got to the pitch of the ball, and if that bounce was in the back of the net, super save. You can see the frustration there, I suppose, of Joe Canning. You know, he's tried really, really hard, but it's amazing. Like a few minutes ago, it was 2-12 all when Joe got the penalty. Now it's 3-20 to 2-13, and Kilkenny just put them away at their ease in the space of 5 or 10 minutes.
I know I've mentioned it a couple of times, but they have been level in this game 8 times. And when you look at the scoreboard now, never thought that happened, as Conor Cooney puts that over the bar for his 7th point of the match. His free taking quite consistent, but there's a long gap now between Kilkenny and Galway. Between the 53rd and 63rd minute, that's a space of 10 minutes, Kilkenny rattled in or over a goal and 8 points.
Yeah, I think Galway was 1 point in that space, like that. So that just shows you that's the story of the game.
Damien Hayes.
And that's why you can't just relax for a split second against them, but their substitutions have worked really well, and Tommy Walsh in particular came on there and I think brought a new life and passion and heart into the Kilkenny team.
Ball comes here as Conor Cooney.
Post.
And that is coming back off the post. You sense when that sort of thing happens that it's just not going to be Galway's day. Oh, fantastic catch by TJ Reid. He was a Kerryman, they'd love him in the kingdom with his football ability, his fielding ability, as Jason Flynn sends that over the bar for his 2nd point of the match. But you begin to feel that the spirit is drained out of Galway after that 1-8 blitz in 10 minutes by Kilkenny.
Absolutely, but Marty, this young player, Jason Flynn, I must say I've been very impressed with him. He's worked really, really hard. He's a great attitude. He scored a couple of points, could have, you know, had a few more scores. A great catch by Henry Shefflin there from that puck out.
Henry is fouled. Irla Tanyan and himself get a little bit entangled. All unnecessary, but wonderful catch by Henry Shefflin.
Well, I don't know what Irla Tanyan's getting so excited about at this stage of the game, you know.
It's a bit ridiculous, to be honest with you. The referee is giving an extra few metres for dissent from Galway. A little bit of frustration at this stage creeping in to their game as well, to be fair. So TJ Reid has had a wonderful match. This has Richie Hogan takes the point to give him a personal tally of a goal and 8 points. Well, Kilkenny didn't really like the thought of 2013 not playing any game in Croke Park. That's going to change now as Joe Canning lays it off. Back to Canning again, trying to provide the leadership, giving it outside, and a wonderful goal by Conor Cooney. Splendid goal by Galway. Nice team movement, good interpassing, and the finish sublime.
Yeah, it was great play. Joe Canning involved on a couple of occasions. He caught the puck out of initially, and a beautiful pass there out to Conor Cooney. He couldn't miss. And that's the type of heart I was talking about. They're back to 6 points now, and Galway not thrown in the towel yet.
Full credit to Galway. And they get the free. Kilkenny not quite agree with that decision of Johnny
No, it
Ryan.
was a great catch by TJ Reid. Watch it here, he came in, a brilliant catch. Comes down with the ball. He gets a nudge of the hurl there off Dahi Burke. You can see that into the stomach, and he lost his footing, and the referee gave a free for overcarrying.
Bit harsh.
Strange call.
Yeah. Kilkenny going to introduce another substitute. Brian Hogan looks to be the man that's going to be introduced, and he's going on for Jackie Tyrrell. So a change in the Kilkenny defence. You know, you talk about the 1-8 that Kilkenny scored in 10 minutes. I read during the week in one of the papers where in the All-Ireland final replay, it took Kilkenny 56 seconds between Joe Canning hitting a ball off the post. Then there was a point, and Cyril Donlan was sent off, but it all took 50 seconds in that space of time. Turn the game around.
Break it!
Ball just being scrambled out a little bit. It's Galway go in pursuit of another goal. Comes back to Canning. Here's a chance for Coney. It's another goal! Well. Right off Galway at your peril. They look dead and gone and on the bus home, but they're not. Wonderful spirit. Look at Coney here. An absolute lasher of a shot.
Well, Marty, that's what happened. Kilkenny were 9 up. We all relaxed. We all said the game was over. And 2 quick goals by Galway. They're right back in this game now with still a couple of minutes to go and a bit of injury time. 3
points between the teams. Can you believe it? 30 points to 27. Clear down the line by your Latanya. Is there one more goal left in the men from the west? Jonathan Glenn under pressure from Porrigwash. Look at that for hunger. They're now beginning to believe in themselves again. Joe Canning chasing after it. Just getting a little touch was Brian Hogan. It was enough. Richie Hogan is there to clear it down the sideline. Aidan Fogarty underneath it. Coming across is Ronan Burke. Sideline ball.
Yeah, that was an important intervention there by Ronan Burke. Tommy Walsh had drifted up the wing, and it was 2 against 1 in there with himself and Conal Fennelly, but Ronan Burke managed to get to the ball. But what a comeback by Galway, Marty. We had them written off here. I don't normally do it in hurling because the gap can close very, very quickly, but it just looked like it was all over. They were cruising 9 points up, started to empty their bench, and in fairness to Galway, 2 great goals, and they're right back in it.
Fergal Moore as Colin Finlay and TJ Reid make a bit of a mess of the sideline ball, but Finlay never gives up, which you have to admire. His effort across, however, is blocked. In comes here Latanya, powerful, and then gives an almighty puck of the slither down the field. Possession here now is vital, crucial. On the ground is Jonathan Glenn. Who has it? Paul Murphy scrambles it up onto the hurl, and away he goes. There's a bit of time going to be added on as we reach the 70th minute. Is there a goal left in Galway? Ball is dropping long, very long, and it falls to one man. Jonathan Glenn, it's 1 against 1. Can he score? Brought down deliberately, and that is surely a penalty. My word, drama in O'Connor Park. No doubt whatsoever, it had to be a penalty. 2 minutes of additional time. We thought Kilkenny were home and hosed. I'm sure Brian Cody did as well, perhaps in the back of his mind. But the spirit of the West has been rekindled, and incredibly, the switches indeed that Anthony Cunningham have made, like Jonathan Glenn, has paid dividends. And there's a chance here to level this Leinster Championship semi-final and perhaps force a replay.
Well, that's it, Marty. There's still another minute to go of injury time. Pressure now on Joe Canning. He's carried Galway on his shoulders for the last number of years, and a great chance here now to equalise.
He scored the first penalty on the 51st minute. 20 minutes later, he has to do it again. He didn't really, to be honest, hit the first one brilliantly. It still went into the back of the net. This to force a replay. Here it comes. It's there! Galway have come back from the dead in the most remarkable comeback against one of the greatest teams in the game of hurling. Fantastic Galway.
Yeah, look at that for a strike party this time. Beautiful skill there by Canning. He just rolled that up and top spin on the ball there, low into the corner of the net. And is he going to blow it up? There's one last play.
TJ Reid gets the puck out almost. It comes instead to Aidan Fogarty. It's Henry Shefflin. Is this a winner? It's dropping in, it's dropping in, it's over the bar. My word. Henry, the King Henry, has responded where Kilkenny needed him most. Is there time left in this dramatic?
He's going to give him, he has to give them a chance. Where will it break? Jonathan Glynn has
Johnny
it out to
Glynn
Joe.
has the ball. Comes to Joe Canning. Difficult angle. Is he going to score from there? Oh my God. Awesome. Incredible. Two of the greatest hurlers that has graced the fields of Ireland. Henry Shefflin down on one end, Joe Canning on the other. Blow it up, referee. It's a draw in O'Connor Park, Tullamore.
Marty, what a second half, and what a way to finish a game. Henry Shefflin, as you said, one of the greatest players of all time, but he's, I suppose, the pretender to his crown over the last number of years. The expectation on Joe Canning's head has been immense, and to score the penalty first of all, and then to score that point from the sideline on the 21-yard line. What a score, and what an absolute brilliant second half, and all credit to Galway. You have to say, Kilkenny pulled away. They had it won in everybody's eyes here at the match, and they come back into that game. They showed tremendous character. I said it with 10 minutes to go. It was an important 10 minutes in their season. I didn't think it was going to have that finish. I didn't think it was going to be that important. But what a fantastic second half.
10 times they were level. It looked like this was the winner from Henry Shefflin. Colm Callanan couldn't reach it. But look at this. Impossible angle, almost on the 13-metre line, acute, and he puts it between the posts to force a replay. 10 times the sides were level. Joe Canning on RT Radio 1 being interviewed live as everybody is breathless. Incredible. 10 times level for the 10th and final time after 72 minutes of play. And it ends before a crowd of 12,548. Galway, 5 goals, 16 points. Kilkenny, 3 goals and 22. And
Thanks, Marty. Well, everybody in Galway certainly will echo that. What a game of hurling. Our panel here certainly have enjoyed that. I know two gentlemen were biting their fingernails anyway. Donald Cusick, you were holding kind of the middle ground between the two of them. First of all, brilliant game of hurling.
Yeah, look, it's why we love the game. Look, the excitement, you know, it looked as if Galway were gone out of the game, but all credit to them. They stuck in there, maybe got a couple of breaks, and then, like, we saw them getting back to get the equaliser, and then what happened in the next minute, like, it's, I think people, you know, that were there, or people that are just watching on television should rejoice in the type of, you know, players that we're able to create within in the association. Henry Shefflin has come back from another serious injury and was able to, out on the left wing, off his weaker side, was able to put the ball over the bar for what looked like the winner for Kilkenny. And then after that, you know, Joe Canning, talk about pressure. It was even a more difficult chance than Shefflin had taken, and to have, I suppose, the presence of mind, not to mention the skill, to do that with the last puck of the game, it's just terrific to see.
Absolutely. Eddie, you were on the phone there texting for the last 2 minutes of that game. Were you booking your tickets for the All-Ireland final or something?
No, I was talking about a draw earlier on, and then Kilkenny went mad and hit, you know, 1-8 without reply. And I think even ourselves here, I think the match went dead almost. You know, we felt
it did. Kilkenny
it looked
were,
as if
9,
we were
10
getting
points
ready
up?
to write, you know, Galway's obituary. But to be fair to them, you know, they got a goal out of nothing, whether it was just a little lapse in concentration. It was a well-worked goal, Joseph Cooney's first goal, well-worked goal. And, you know, it just sprung to life then. We were just taught the impossible. And, you know, just as we were kind of punching the air saying, you know, what a return for Henry Shefflin. You couldn't...
You were punching the air. You were the only fella punching the air.
Yeah, less of the wee.
Well, get out the wee.
You couldn't write it. And then for Joe Canning, who in a lot of people's eyes to now has been talked of as, you know, this head-to-head with himself and Henry, this great player. And, you know, I said before the match about, you know, two things about Joe Canning needing to step up today. Well, he fairly pulled it out of the bag today. And Galway, to be fair to them, have hunted down a 9-point lead, something they haven't done for a good while in Championship hurling. So you'd have to say, all in all, what a finish. But I'd say Brian Cody will be bitterly disappointed with that. You know, 9 points up, cruising.
I think, Michael, the big thing for Galway, though, Michael, is, as Eddie referred to there, Galway came back from 9 points down. There was a 10-minute spell there, 63 minutes to go. the 10-minute spell, it was 1-8 score by Kilkenny, a point for Galway.
Yeah.
And it was 63 minutes on the clock. Anthony Cunningham changed all the subs, throw caution to the wind, and Galway came back from the dead. And that's the big thing, even psychologically in their head. They came back from the dead. When did you see a Kilkenny team before losing a 9-point lead? They brought on subs. Tommy Welch got a great score. Henry came on. Like, they seem to be doing the right things, kind of just going down the clock. And the next day, like, fantastic game of hurling. Like, the draws were, but I think Galway will improve actually from the confidence.
If you go into the last ball that went in there to Ronan Burke, I don't know who I can criticise. One of the Kilkenny lads hit a bad ball into him all on his own. It ended up in the back of the net. So, like, ultimately, you know, little things. We talk about the Galway one in the first half.
Which I suppose it kind of got helter-skelter at that stage, isn't it?
It's easy
but
it's easy to talk about it now. But, like, it has been part of the whole narrative looking at Kilkenny this year. How strong is their defence and how strong is their defence down the spine? And Jackie Turl went off. You know, and Owen Murphy made a couple of fantastic saves.
Oh, he did. There's no doubt.
Like,
let's have a look at those two goals by Conor, because, like, fantastic goals from Galway point of view, but maybe points up as well what you're saying about the Kilkenny defence. Maybe they got a bit lapsed now. Maybe they thought the match was won, but.
Yeah, but all credit due to Canning for taking it on again, going into the area. How fast he offloads here is absolutely, you know, look at the speed of his hands to offload it.
Sucked in all the defenders.
Exactly. Sucked into the defenders. But Michael, a big change second half was Johnny Glynn coming on. That guy is 6'4", unorthodox under the high ball, but capable of getting it, cutting through. He got fouled a good bit for frees. Like, this stage, it was wide open. Like, going just lovely little flick here by Cooney across. They got great scores. Brian Cody will be wondering how they lost it. Well, they didn't lose the match. You know, again.
Lost the lead.
Lost the lead. That line, it doesn't usually happen to Kilkenny. But look, Hurling was the winner there. I was praying he'd blow it up. The boys saying there's 40 seconds left, which is 11, because, like, no one deserved to lose that. And, you know, like, it's great for the game of hurling. You know, we're looking forward to the replay.
Eddie, earlier on, Galway got a penalty. Joe Cooney, nice flick of the wrists, put it in the back of the net. Galway get the second penalty. Then Cooney steps up and does exactly the same thing.
Joe Canning.
Joe Canning, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, to be fair to him, last weekend...
I'm back in the previous era.
Last weekend we talked about, you know, Patrick Horgan having the courage at a crucial time in the match.
Johnny Glynn here.
I think it's Johnny Glynn coming in, Killian Buckley, you know.
Was that a penalty?
Yeah, without doubt. I think a clever tackle, I suppose, is the category. But look,
fair argument for a black card there with that one.
I think, you know, if you talk about the black cards coming in, that is... But to be fair to Joe Canning, you know, it wasn't an easy one, and he struck it, he pulled it back across, you know, caught JJ on his outside, you know, kept it away from the middle, whereas, you know, normally for penalties, if you go down the middle, it's the area where they all tend to come into.
On the ball.
But he got over it and it flew in nicely. But it was a crucial goal at a very important time in the match.
It still makes an important point there. You talk like Patrick Horgan, Joe Canning. I was standing facing these guys for the last couple of years. These guys are moving the ball in the air. They're striking the ball, and they're either spinning it or else they're catching the ball so flat. And as we all know, the shape, and these guys know it, the shape of the ball changes when you catch it.
Sure.
And then when it goes back to its original place. And these guys are moving the ball in the air the way they're striking it.
There's a guy there playing for Galway, a young guy, Joyson Flynn.
Yes.
Now, he won't be taking the frees yet, but that guy.
Yeah.
He can put, they'll go like a spin, like a tennis ball, like a rocket. It's very, like he just has as well. He won't be taking it for God, but he'll eventually wind up there.
His club, man.
No, but he has that in him. He has it in him.
There was plenty of fantastic scorers out there in that field. I suppose if we were looking for a grandstand finish to this game, we could not have asked for anything better than Henry Shefflin, the great Henry, looking like he had won it for Kilkenny, and then Joe Canning rescues the thing.
Exactly, in the space of a minute. It was like, you know, like a lot has been made of Canning that Canning is 24, 25. I think Shefflin had 4 All-Ireland medals, won at this stage in his career, but look, Shefflin had a lot better players, with all due respect to Galway, around him in the earlier part of his career. But like I said, for him to have the skill, the composure, that's the real pressure one, because it's like taking a free if it's a draw game and you're going for the winner. There's less of a pressure on that compared to the one if you're trying to save the game. And look, hurling is the game that continues to give, and our hurlers are the people who continue to give.
Yeah. OK, let's get the thoughts of the Galway manager, Anthony Cunningham. He's talking to Claire McNamara.
53rd and 63rd minute, Kilkenny scored 1-8, and between the 63rd and the 73rd minute, Galway scored 3-3. An amazing finish. I'm joined by the Galway manager, Anthony Cunningham. Anthony, did you think it was dead and gone?
Well, I suppose we're disappointed with the way Kilkenny halfway through the second half turned the screw really, and you know, it went from a very, very even match to, you know, they getting a goal and a couple of points, but tremendous character from our guys to stay plugging away. And I suppose when we got the first goal, there was 6 points in it, and you always thought that, you know, if we get one more chance. But then when it went to just 3 points, definitely there was about 2 minutes left on the clock, and we said stay plugging away and came up trumps there. Johnny Glenn, you know, brought down, and Joe put the penalty away. Thought then maybe Johnny Ryan would have blown full time, but I suppose he made to the extra drama with 2 brilliant scores in the last few minutes.
Do you think now that you have a psychological advantage that you came back from 10 points down?
Well, they say always the last team that scores in the drawn match wins the replay, but you never say that against Kilkenny. They're a tremendous team, but you know, we're still hurting from 2012 and they beat us in the replay, and we want to put that record right. And but look, it'll be a fair game, and it was a tremendously fought contest there today, and to be no different than any day you play Kilkenny. They're a tremendous side, but we most certainly want to win that.
Well done to Anthony Cunningham, well done to Galway, and well done to Kilkenny. This was a
Well, we certainly hurled very well in the second half to get that lead. You know, we really got some terrific scores, some great play, and obviously that put us into a position where it looked very promising for us. And you know, in the same sense that we did that to them for that period of time, the last whatever was length in the game, they punished us badly. And obviously it's something that we wouldn't be particularly happy with, but it happened, and that's hurling. There's never a big lead in hurling, or never too big a lead in hurling, and now we have to go do the job again.
Brilliant stuff, fantastic stuff, Tomas. 9 points, there's never too big a lead, but it was a good lead.
Oh, it was a fantastic lead. Look, you couldn't see a way back for Galway at that stage, right? I mean, there was a period in that second half, 10 minutes, a blitz from Kilkenny, and they've done it so many times to teams in the past. I mean, for all their endeavour and all the hard work that they put into the first half, Galway, they kept themselves in the game, but within that period you say, yes, the match is over. But from somewhere, something that I had questioned all along in their league campaign coming into the championship, would Galway find the appetite, find the hunger to go and play a Kilkenny team and stand up and be counted once and for all? And today, to be fair to them, when they looked dead and buried, they did exactly that with 10 minutes to go.
Well, Kilkenny will be sickened, obviously, not to have won it. But what will their mindset be going into a replay?
I think they'll just have to get a bit more dogged. I mean, the key to Kilkenny teams the past has been closing it out. When they get ahead, the other team starts to chase the game. Kilkenny then dig in and get a couple of goals then to finish you off. That didn't happen today. So Brian Cody, I suppose, will be seen. There's an awful lot more questions, I suppose, after today's game. Like Tomas said, Galway, like we all questions what Galway team are going to turn up. We saw today when the real team turns up, you know, and Joe and Conor Cooney, these boys start flying. Very hard for defences to keep him out. But I think Brian Cody will be more than a bit disappointed. I think the way things turned out today, and they're losing that lead is not a good sign for Kilkenny at this stage in the championship.
And with goals as well, of course, so many goals. The first Kilkenny goal was one of the big talking points.
Yeah, it was a talking point because it came maybe in the first half period when, look, I saw nothing wrong with this, Des, being honest with you, right? I thought this was pure, honest endeavour by both sides, a bit of shouldering. And you see Jason Flynn has possession of the ball, but the whistle has just gone when he picked up possession and the referee's given a free out. Look, I mean, there's nothing in this that I can see that would warrant a free out for Kilkenny. And the result is the ball is hit down the field straight from the free and into Owen Larkin, and he solos through. Now, he's a bit fortunate here because Fergal Moore is very unlucky. He does get a hook to the shot and it kind of trickles. I mean, the goalkeeper for Galway will be very disappointed in that. He kind of expected maybe the shot to be blasted and maybe he was bending to protect himself more than anything else, and it trickles in underneath him. It was a goal that Galway did not deserve to lose on that to concede on that basis today.
Well, that meant the sides were level at half time, and we thought a great second half going up. But then Kilkenny took off, Brendan.
Yeah, it was a real arm wrestle in the first half, and then the second half, Kilkenny really, they scored 1-7 in a 10-minute period. Galway a little bit contributed to their own downfall. We're seeing a Kilkenny puck out. It's time you can organise as a defence. Galway aren't organised. See Richie Power inside in the edge of the square, no one marking him. And from there on, then the Galway defence are 6s and 7s, chasing the game. We see 4 players lined up here, all having to sprint to see can they catch Colin Fennelly, but of course they can't, and the ball is flashed into the back of the net. So disorganised was the thing. Then Colin Fennelly went out on the 65 for Kilkenny. He added huge energy around there. You see him blocking down Joe Canny. He was back involved in helping his defence. But then the long ball comes in, and they always say, I suppose, the old dog for the hard road. We'd highlight Tommy Walsh out here, not getting involved in the general play, but he knows that when the ball breaks and it comes out to him, that, you know, he's going to be in a position with no one on him. And it's obviously easier to get a score when you're coming out the way away from the defenders and uses all his experience and puts the ball over the bar. Again, we see Tommy Walsh winning possession, David Collins miles off of Aidan Fogarty, and this was happening for 10-15 minutes in the Galway defence. And of course, if you give a player that much room, Tommy Walsh again, using all his experience, pops the ball out in front of Aidan, who looks up and hits a great point over the side. So they weren't pressurising the Kilkenny forwards as much as they should have, and that contributed hugely to being 1-7 down in that 10-minute spell.
And we thought it was all over then, didn't we? We were saying,
we were saying there was no way back for Galway, you know.
What a comeback, in fairness.
Yeah, I think the introduction of Jonathan Glynn at half-time had a big impact. I mean, people were surprised maybe he wasn't in the team. But also, like, I think Joe Canning certainly said somebody needs to take this game by the scruff of the neck. He had been playing at centre forward, but he had been moving very much out to the wings and stuff like that. And this time round, he was in the central position to set up that goal to Cooney. Here again, I highlight the situation, and Cody won't be happy with this, conceding the amount of goals that they conceded. There's 6 Kilkenny players, all chasing the one man on the ball, and it comes across the square, and there's acres of room, acres of space and time for Cooney to get the other goal as well, right? So, I mean, they won't be happy with that in defence, conceding 5 goals. This is the penalty, clear penalty for me. Like I mentioned about Jonathan Glynn, great impact in that second half period. One kind of concern that I would have for Galway when they're playing him is if they're playing him out in the corner. There were times when there was low ball went up the wing to him, and Paul Murphy was very, very quick to get out in front. Once he moved into a central position, he has some paw on him, and he did cause serious problems. And it has asked questions about this Kilkenny full back line conceding 5 goals again today, and they've been breached a good few times now in the past.
Yeah, now Joe Canning, of course, dispatched that penalty superbly, and we thought it might end, but then the 2 biggest names in hurling arguably showed their class.
Yeah, it is. It's just when big-time games, big-time players come out. This is straight away after Galway got their equalising goal. Taggy runs onto a ball, and who pops up outside him? Only Henry. Now, no panic. You can see how relaxed he is and all that, and he just helps the ball over the bar. There was no blast, there was no panic. Then, of course, that laid the gauntlet.
Time was up, like,
laid the gauntlet down. Then, of course, the big-time player up the other end, Joe Canning. Now, Jonathan Glynn, as Tomas said, was the go-to man for Galway. Of course, he put his hand up here and in no small part contributed to the score. And, of course, Joe makes the loop and run. Didn't really come to him first time, but had the composure. Paul Murphy, one of the best cornerbacks in the country, would have thought, look, I've my job done here. He's facing out towards the crowd. That's it. But I mean, Joe Canning today really in the last 15 minutes was outstanding, and that just capped it off for him.
Yeah, it was an amazing score, wasn't it?
Oh, it was absolutely amazing score. And I mean, look, we had a 10-minute period there that if we get this for the rest of the summer, I mean, hurling is going to be way better than what was even back in 2013.
Yeah. There was one point you picked up on, Joe.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is kind of, I mean, you could say he was a bit of a naughty boy. You see it here coming in. There's a bit of a chop down on Richie Hogan. I think Richie doesn't make a meal of it. He gets up as quickly as possible. It's one that went unnoticed, I think, to the referee. I mean, you've Barry Kelly on the other side looking in it. And look, there are times when you see red cards given for something like that. You know, he didn't even get a yellow card, you know. So it's, Brendan mentioned about cool heads there in the end. There are times when Joe maybe, with all his endeavour to be captain of the team, to be leader and stuff like that, there are times maybe just a small bit rash.
Right. And Brendan?
Yeah, it was. I suppose you look in a lot of ways that Richie Hogan got up, and I think that's the way the game was played in that kind of spirit today. You know, it was manly stuff at the start in a tight pitch at Tullamore. We knew Galway came out firing on all cylinders, you know, so it was a loose one. But look, at the end of the day, it showed a great sportsmanship, I think, is in our game as well. Richie got up, all shook hands and moved on.
All right. Who was our man of the match contenders?
Well, Conor Cooney, first of all, he had a fantastic game, contributed 2-7. He was keeping runs, kept the Kilkenny defence on their toes all day long. Richie Hogan has brought just the league form into the Offaly game, and now at the biggest stage, he was buzzing around the middle of the field. He was scoring points, scored 5, setting up the play as well. And then with Joe Canning, I mean, there was a lot of question marks over Joe coming into the game. Would he deliver? But when Galway are going well, Joe was stuck in the middle of everything. Contributed 2-3 today, and his equaliser we saw there was just an amazing score.
Okay, and the winner then, after a great match, it must be said.
After a fantastic match, Des, it was a very difficult decision, I suppose, but we've gone for a man that has probably played in every position for Kilkenny in the forward line, and then he gets a movement to midfield, and it's the midfield maestro himself, Richie Hogan. He gave a fantastic performance, a joy to watch, and a very accomplished hurler.
All right, then, congratulations to Richie. Let's hear from the man from Danesfort.
Richie, I suppose the question is, how did Kilkenny not win that game?
Yeah, it was looking good, I suppose, with, I don't know how long was left, maybe 10-15 minutes, but once Galway got in a roll, really hard to stop, and I suppose I thought Henry had hit the winner at the end, but look, it's been a great championship so far, following on from last year, and just two teams who really wanted to win it, and overall, I mean, we've no complaints. I mean, we've another day out next week. 3 championship matches a few years ago. You know, we might have only had 4 in the whole year. So I mean, it's great to get so many games so early.
Well, Richie, we are looking forward to the replay. Congratulations, you are the Liberty Insurance RTE Man of the Match, and Dave Byrne is here from Liberty with your award.
Congratulations.